In the depths of Chicago, where narrow streets vanish into the darkness of the night, where shadows stretch with long fingers and mystique permeates every corner, there lived its own atmosphere, where reality and dream merge, creating a sinister backdrop for harrowing events. Three friends, Jacob, Michael, and Nate, decided to spend the weekend at Jake's grandmother's house. Along the way, they penetrated into a long-forgotten mansion, whose dark history lay at the heart of local legends, like a sticky cobweb entangled in time. Entering the mysterious space, the door unexpectedly slammed shut, leaving them trapped in the clutches of their own fears. The windows were boarded up, and the way out vanished, as if engulfed by the ominous atmosphere of the place. Exploring the dark corners of the house, they encountered the ghosts of the past, the souls of a murdered family, embodied in shadow in the whispers of the night. Two of the friends disappear, consumed by the darkness of this place, their screams lost in the abyss of horror. But one of them, Jake, manages to escape this nightmare. He remains alone but not lonely, because in his mind now dwell the ghosts of the past. They have become an inseparable part of him, watching every step, consuming his thoughts and soul. Now Jake understands that the doors that slammed shut behind him were not only physical but metaphorical. His nightmare is just beginning, and it will pursue him until the very end of his days, turning every moment into a battle between light and darkness, between reality and the ghosts of his past. However, when more people in Chicago began to disappear without a trace, some started to hear about a mysterious mansion that no one could find, as if it existed only in dark nightmares. And no one knew that Jake was not the last to cross the threshold of this cursed place.
In the shadow of the moss-laden forest of Florida stood a house, abandoned and forgotten by time. Its facade, corroded by moisture and covered in lichen, concealed terrible secrets hidden within its walls. It was a house about which local residents whispered, avoiding even looking in its direction after sunset. A boy named Tommy was born and raised in the shadow of this house, listening to his parents' stories about the horrifying events that unfolded there many years ago. His father, a U.S. Army veteran, often spoke of mysterious sounds emanating from the darkened windows and unexplained shadows that drifted in the darkness. For his birthday, Tommy received a gift from his father, an expensive night vision binoculars. It was a luxurious gift that filled the boy's heart with excitement. He dreamed of exploring the world through the lenses of this binoculars, uncovering the secrets of the dark corners of the surroundings. And on one starless night, when the moon hid behind clouds and the stars shied away from prying eyes, Tommy decided to test his new gift. He raised the binoculars to his eyes and peered through the window of the house across the way, where a family once lived, engulfed in darkness and enigma. At first he saw only flickering shadows and crumbling walls, but as he surveyed the windows of this forgotten place, he noticed something unusual. A silhouette, vague and indistinct, as if someone or something stood inside the house, waiting for its next victim. But the most terrifying moment came when he suddenly noticed a pair of glowing eyes on the second floor, staring directly at him through the darkness. These eyes were the complete opposite of anything Tommy had ever seen. They gleamed in the dark, as if darkness itself summoned them. Fear gripped Tommy, causing him to recoil and immerse himself in a sea of his own fears. He closed his eyes, hoping that when he opened them again, it would all turn out to be a sinister dream. But when he opened his eyes, the house across the way was once again engulfed in darkness, and only the distant hum of the night reminded him of his horrifying discovery. Fear didn't leave Tommy for a moment. It restlessly swung on the swings of his consciousness, awaiting the next opportunity to venture out and explore the dark secrets of this place. And when he told his father about what he had seen, his father only smiled grimly and said, "You should never peer into those dark corners where secrets are hidden that should not be revealed. They can consume you, Tommy, just as they consumed those who dared to explore them before." But for Tommy, curiosity was stronger than fear. He was determined to uncover the truth about what lurked in the shadow of this house, even if it meant delving into the heart of the evil that awaited him in the darkness.
Through the veil of night, in the silence of an American suburb, stood a house engulfed in mystery and the premonition of the inevitable. It was the house recently purchased by Jacob Morgan, a man who sought to find his own place in the world, even if it meant buying a house at a bargain price. Jacob, enamored with antiquity and the atmosphere of yesteryears, wasn't deterred by the fact that his new abode was considered unlucky and was much cheaper than neighboring homes. However, as the days and weeks passed, he began to regret his choice. For every time he stumbled upon a new oddity, his home reminded him of its recent past. The first time it was a voodoo doll, found in the attic with a gaze that sent shivers down Jacob's spine. Then came the Ouija board discovered in the basement, which seemed to possess a will of its own, moving the pointer across its mysterious symbols. But the most horrifying of all was a book with terrifying illustrations, found in a hidden niche in the wall. The drawings seemed beckoning and incomprehensible, their images flickering in the candlelight as if coming to life within the pages. The night Jacob decided to go downstairs to the kitchen for a drink of water turned into a hellish nightmare. Dark shadows lurked in the corners, making his heart race, and the sounds of rustling made him jump. And then he saw an Ikie ghost, pale and sorrowful, standing by the wall, its eyes filled with helpless grief. With trembling hands, Jacob dialed the police, hoping for help, but his story seemed like a ridiculous tale to them, and they laughed it off, leaving him alone to face his fears. However, it was only the beginning of his nightmare. The oddities in his house became increasingly eerie and incomprehensible, strange sounds and visions haunting him every day. And the more he learned about the history of this place, the clearer it became that he hadn't bought this house by chance, and that something sinister and powerful lurked within its walls. Jacob resolved to unravel the secrets of his house, but the deeper he dug, the closer he came to a truth that might prove too heavy for him to bear. For something ominous and utterly terrifying had awakened, and now it thirsted for vengeance for all those years of oblivion. And when that swallowed his house, turning it into a hellish inferno, Jacob realized no one could save him from what he himself had unleashed.